All right, well, thank you guys for staying afterwards to make it sound funnier when I put it on YouTube. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here again and watch it 222 and whatever letter this room is. Just gonna entertain you guys again with the same act that I did a couple days ago. I have a lot of admiration for Brett Favre, as you guys know. 40-year-old grandpa, I love him. You know, yes, I'm giving him some grief, but you know, I do admire him. You know, he's old, he's a grandfather now, he's what, 41? He can still sling that football around. And it's nice to know that he still slings his balls around. You know, coming soon to a cell phone near you, Brett Favre's balls. I went to a lot of weddings this summer, too. But I had a lot of time to think because I didn't have a job or anything. So what I observed at the weddings is that a lot of people drink a lot. You get to the reception and everybody's hammered. And, like, why would they want to be hammered? Don't they want to remember this joyous occasion, this happy occasion, this elated occasion? You know, all these wedding couples are saying, oh yeah, my wedding was so great. Everybody loved it. Well, how can they love it if they don't remember it? You know, so I thought about it. Why do people want to drink at weddings? And then I had a light bulb moment and it was like, oh, it's not because they're happy for you. You know, people drink at weddings because they want to forget. You know, they want to forget that they associated with their ex-wife who, you know, hurt them somehow, or, you know, they want to forget that they got to third base with their cousin. You know, they want to forget that they had sex with their ex-wife's lesbian lover. You know, that's why people drink. It's not because they're happy for you. Because if they were happy for you, they'd want to actually remember it. You know, the reason they drink is they want to forget. They don't want to remember any of this because they hate the other people that you invited to the wedding in the first place. This is why you're going to see a lot of people start eloping in the future. You know? Why deal with all this for an ungrateful party that drinks and doesn't want to remember you? You know, I also heard a lot of roommate stories over the summer. You know, a lot of drunk stories from people at the weddings telling me the roommate stories. But I got to tell you, there is one story that just takes the cake. And this poor guy, and I feel sorry for this poor guy, like my heart goes out to him. And this poor guy, his roommate and his roommate's girlfriend, they like to do, well, an interesting thing. I guess it's interesting, I mean, you can call it what you want, but I mean, this thing is so advanced and so far out in the future. This is not going to be common for another 100 years, people. And there's no easy way to say it, so I'm just going to go right out and say it. This guy's roommate and his roommate's girlfriend, they like to engage in an act of freaky foreplay. And they like to fart in each other's mouths. I feel really sorry for this guy. He lived through it. And I can't believe he survived. But, yeah, and who willingly farts in another person's mouth? I mean, first, like, you have to, you know, like, why are you going to, like, put your mouth to someone's butt and go, ready, set, fire? Why? I mean, because when some people fart, they don't just fart. I mean, you're going to let someone willingly emit gas from their ass into your mouth? Because, I mean, sometimes it's not just gas, people. You run a real risk of having someone drop a deuce into your mouth. And think about that. Hey, baby, we've had a wonderful day. Please fart in my mouth. You know, that sounds like the perfect night. You know, beef stew and brownies. Yeah, and my heart goes out to that guy. I can't believe anybody would do that. I'm sure it'll be prevalent in the year 2110. But there's, and, you know, and like I said, given some flack to some people, and you know, I'm going to talk about girls now, and I'm not an expert at girls. Well, yeah, I have no really knowledge on that subject, but because you guys talk in a different language, and I just don't understand it. You know, one minute you're flirting, one minute, hey, it's just let's be friends, and then another minute they serve you with a 100-foot restraining order. I mean, really, why do you touch my arm in the first place? You know, and I'll admit it, it's not all on you guys. Some of it's on me, you know. You know, it's not just the girls, it's also the guys. Sometimes, I mean, mostly it's girls, but, you know, I've had, you know, I am probably my biggest reason why I have had zero success with girls. And there are two stories that I'd like to tell you. One is when I was in 4th grade, and I was sick with Crohn's disease, and I thought, hey, you know what? I'm skinny, I look like I'm anorexic, and first graders outweigh me, so in kindergarten, so I'm going to go and get a girlfriend, because that's going to make me stand out. And there was this one girl who was, I thought she was cute. Her name was Connie, and you know, I was 4 feet, she was 5'6". I was like 35 pounds at the most, and she had to easily triple me or maybe quadruple weight. You know, I was sick, she was healthy. But anyway, you know, one day I had come back from the bathroom. I'm sure that like I had diarrhea or something. I know I wasn't feeling well. You know, I had a very low energy level, but you know, I thought, hey, I'm going to muster up all my energy. I'm not going to focus in on my grades or lunchtime or anything. I'm going to impress this girl. She is never, ever going to forget me. I'm sure she hasn't forgotten me, but anyway, you know, I saw her in the hallway with her 2 friends. She was working on some project, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to approach this girl. It's like the first time I ever approached a girl. You know, so like, you know, really sick, low energy level, not feeling well at all. But I go, hey, Connie. And then I felt something, and all I know is the next day I vomited in front of this girl. I vomited on her project, I vomited in front of her friends, and I'm sure a little bit of it got on her as well. And, you know, girls, you know, they say they want you to bare your soul to them, you know? They want to see what's inside of you. I can say with 100% confidence, that is not what they want to see. And that was the end of that. I mean, I still tried to, like, flirt with her, or whatever you want to call vomiting in front of her. But, you know, I still tried to, like, you know, be friends with her, but once you vomit in front of a girl, you can't go back. And so, you know, I got sicker and sicker at this, and, you know, I obviously had no girlfriend because I think vomiting is okay in front of girls. And, you know, so as I got sicker and sicker, they're like, hey, you know what? We think he's depressed, because I was going to the doctors like 3 times a week. You know, they're like, oh, we don't know what's wrong with you. You know, maybe you have cancer. Maybe nothing's wrong with you. Hey, you know what? Maybe you're suicidal and you're clinically depressed. So they sent me to a psychiatrist. And, you know, I love psychiatrists because they always ask you the stupidest questions. Like, you know, so I go to this appointment with my parents, and, you know, my parents, they don't know what's wrong with me. So, you know, the psychiatrist goes, huh, are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling a little sad? And I go, well, let me think about this. I go, I don't have any energy level. My stomach feels like it's eating me from the inside out. My whole body is eating me from the inside out. I cry myself to sleep. You know, I feel cold at night. I can't eat anything because I vomited up. I vomit in front of girls, too, because I think that that's socially acceptable. And I haven't had a normal bowel movement in 6 months. But other than that, I'm a bottle of freaking sunshine, lady. And so, yeah, they're like, yeah, he's not depressed. There's obviously something wrong with him. Really, I mean, how do these people get their degrees if they ask you just, are you depressed? And anybody can see, yeah, you'd be depressed too. You can't rap and you can't talk to a girl and you vomit in front of her. No shit, I'm depressed. So, and it's true, so I wound up, in order to diagnose Crohn's disease, because that's what I was diagnosed with, you had to have a colonoscopy. And so I was like 40 years ahead of my time. You get it when you're 50, not 10. And so like I remember I didn't know what a colonoscopy was. I couldn't quite grasp it. So I asked my dad, what's a colonoscopy? Because like I was like, oh, I have no scars or anything from this surgery. So, and he told me that, they stick a camera up your butt. And I just remember being very confused by this because, the butt's really small. I had to watch porn to figure out how small it is. And then I'm like, okay, well, small hole, camera. Because I only knew like one camera, I think it was like a Kodak moment. But then, I'm like, okay, so, big camera. Like, wait a minute. They shove a camera up your butt? I go, wait, like what was, like a JVC camera that they put on your shoulder? Like how did it fit it up there? Like, hold on, swallow. Well, maybe if they tilted on an angle. It's, maybe the other way. And so I couldn't get that it was like a small camera, which I've seen like before I had one of them. I saw it like the last time. It's really cool. I mean, like, I think it has lasers on the end. Like, shoot. I mean, it's really cool. I asked my doctor, hey, can I put it in myself? You don't have to show up. Can I just do the operation on myself? Maybe I'll find some stuff in there. And he was like, well, I don't have a problem with it. He goes, but the hospital might. I go, well, can you see if they'll let me put it in? Because I really want to, like, I don't know. I ask stupid questions like that all the time at the doctor's office. But yeah, so like, I now know for sure it's not a big camera. It took me until like the fourth one to figure out it wasn't a big camera. So, and anyway, if there's one more story I want to share with you, this sums up everything in my life. And it's the second story of why I have no success with girls, because I'm awkward and I say stupid things. And I had this girl, I was in a trip in Chicago with my friends Chris. It was a business school trip. We had just graduated high school, but it was like our last competition for business. And so like we were hanging out with juniors and sophomores on our one day off, one day free. We got to hang out in Chicago. And like, this girl kept giggling and laughing and touching my arm. And so like, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I think she's flirting with me. I'm not sure, but I really gotta go for it. And I'm like, okay, remember, don't vomit in front of her, that's bad. So, I'm like, okay, so my friend Chris was telling everybody that he went to the Cubs game, and where Zambrano and Barrett got in a fight. And I was like, oh, I did something this day. I really did something. I know I did it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let them know that I did something this day. And I didn't have to filter in my brain saying, no, bad move, don't do this. Because obviously I didn't have to filter in my brain when I vomited in front of Tommy either. But, so, I'm like, okay, I noticed. And I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it with enthusiasm. And I'm going to say it loud and proud. And so I'm like, in front of everybody, I have my two friends, Chris. I'm like, oh, yeah. I had a colonoscopy that day. And who says that? Who talks about things that were shoved up their butthole and thinks that that's going to get them anywhere with a girl? I mean, I still can't believe I said it. I mean, I think I want to be 50 years old and a virgin because that's where I'm headed if I continue to try to pick up girls with things shoved up my butthole. And it's just, I'm like, why, you moron, I would have rather vomited in front of her than said that. Nobody needs to know that you get routine colonoscopies. So, it's just like, why? That kind of ended everything. Like, she was like, yeah, I don't want to be with you. Can you kind of get away with me for the rest of the afternoon? Because you're weird. You know, who talks about that? I do. Okay, I'll admit it. I talk about things shoved up my butthole. Routine. If you're gonna live with me, you have to face the facts. I have had a lot of things shoved up my butthole. What I have figured out, and this is the one thing I want you guys to take away from this today, is that the way through a person's heart is not through your butt. Thank you.